Hello doll fans and welcome back to Beauty Inside a Box. My name's Joey and today we are going to be talking about the rise and fall and possible rise again of the Disney live-action doll collection. So you may or may not have noticed, but there has been a never-ending plague of Disney live-action remakes coming out over the past 10-12 years. And for a lot of these Disney live-action remakes, Disney has tried to create doll lines to promote the film, and these doll lines have had varying degrees of success. And in just a few months' time, Disney is going to release their reimagining of The Little Mermaid, one of my favourite Disney films, and they are once again trying to promote the film with loads of new dolls. But before we talk about those dolls, I thought we would look back at all the Disney live-action dolls which led up to this moment. So I think when people think of Disney live-action films and also Disney live-action dolls, they think of the never-ending onslaught of remakes we've been getting recently. You may or may not be able to tell, but I don't like a lot of these remakes. I'm not a big fan. But I have bought a few of the dolls and we are going to talk about them along the way throughout this video. But obviously Disney had made dolls for other live-action properties before in the past, so there was a bit of a precedent set before they started making remakes. An obvious example of this is for Mary Poppins. Mary Poppins is a live-action film for the most part. There obviously is one sequence where they sing Jolly Holiday and why can I not remember the name of this word? Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. That's the word. But for the most part, this is a live-action film, and Disney throughout time has made dolls. Here are some examples here. All of the dolls you can see in this image were made by Mattel, but there were some older dolls which were made by another company, but these are probably the most recognisable Mary Poppins dolls. There were also some Disney Parks dolls of Mary Poppins. Mary Poppins is a funny film because even though it's a live action, Disney has often treated it like it's one of their animated classics. It often gets kind of promoted in the same way that an animated film would. But anyway, I do actually have two of these Mary Poppins dolls. I have the one in the Jolly Holiday outfit and I have the one from the 90s, but I don't actually have them here with me, unfortunately. Now, the first attempt Disney made at a live-action remake was actually with 101 Dalmatians in 1996. And even though it didn't get very well reviewed at the time, this film, it was a big success for Disney. And they, of course, made some dolls. Well, Mattel made some dolls. And these were collector edition dolls. I think because it's a live-action film, Mattel and Disney both kind of thought the dolls had to be collector's editions to kind of say like, well, this is a adult live-action film, therefore the dolls must be for collectors, which I always think is a funny way to go about it, especially because a lot of the Disney live-action remakes are kind of dumbed-down versions of their original film. I think they often lack a lot of emotional intelligence, and they feel the need to kind of spoon-feed the audience and over-explain everything. But for some reason, people still consider the live-action remakes the kind of adult version, the version which is okay for adults to go to the cinema and watch. But I disagree. But anyway, that was a small side rant. So they made dolls for 101 Dalmatians, but for some reason, Disney didn't really attempt to capitalize on this trend until much, much, much later. They did, in the year 2000, make a sequel to 101 Dalmatians called 102 Dalmatians. See what you did there, Disney? And I went to the premiere of that film. I remember very, very clearly. The film was not that good. And it massively underperformed at the box office. Like, it didn't do nearly as well as the original film. So I think that is why they decided not to make another live-action remake for a while after that. But one of the highlights of 101 Dalmatians was Glenn Close as Cruella de Vil. So the dolls are great and still iconic, and when I was a kid I absolutely loved this film. I loved this film. It's got great kind of like Home Alone energy, if you know what I mean. Okay, so the next Disney live-action remake which was made was Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland in 2010. Oh my goodness, this film is 13 years old. Wow. I remember being super, super excited for this film, and I was kind of disappointed, I won't lie. There's way too much terrible computer animation. Alice is kind of a boring character. There are just some really cringy moments in it. And also part of the fun of Alice in Wonderland is it's just nonsense, pretty much. And I think this film tries to give it too much of a structured narrative. Now, this film was a massive, massive, massive success for Disney. And I think this film was what gave Disney the incentive to start this never-ending barrage of Disney live-action remakes. But I don't think Disney was expecting this to be as big a success as it was. I don't think they were expecting. And you can tell they weren't expecting because they didn't make very many dolls. Why didn't they make any dolls? The only character they made a doll for was the Mad Hatter, played by Johnny Depp. This film definitely kind of positions Johnny Depp as the main character a lot more than the original story, where, you know, the Mad Hatter is just kind of like a side character. This film kind of moved him to the forefront. But anyway, yeah, so they made this doll. It's actually a really nice doll. I think it was made by Mattel. Pretty sure it was made by Mattel. Really beautiful doll, but this was the only doll they made. And I think Disney regretted that, because they would not make that mistake again. The next Disney sort of live-action remake type film came out in the year 2013, and it was Oz the Great and Powerful. I'm pretty sure Disney was trying to start their own big new franchise, akin to Pirates of the Caribbean or Harry Potter, and they were hoping that Oz the Great and Powerful would be that big franchise for them. Unfortunately, even though I think the film performed quite well, it just didn't have the staying power, it didn't have the longevity. People aren't still talking about this film. I quite enjoyed it. I won't lie, I quite enjoyed it. There were some problems with it, but I didn't hate it. I thought it was quite funny. Anyway, Disney made dolls. Disney was not going to miss out this time on the opportunity to market this film with dolls. So they made 4 dolls for the Disney store, and they were absolutely stunning. Really, really beautiful dolls. It even says at the bottom of the packaging, Disney Film Collection, which was how they were kind of going to market this new line of dolls. And I actually have the Wicked Witch of the West doll from this film. And even though, you know, this film isn't amazing, I love this doll. Like, the attention to detail is absolutely stunning. I love this, like, floaty material they've used for her skirt. She's got really cool boots on, and obviously she's got her, what's this called? Broomstick. She's got her hat. I kind of wish I had more of the dolls from this film because the quality is so very, very high. Disney also licensed out the IP to a company called Tolly Tots, which made these, like, rather beautiful dolls. Honestly, these are nice dolls as well. The quality is still quite high. Not as high as the Disney Store dolls, but these dolls are nice. And I remember seeing these in Hamleys, which is a big toy shop in London. I think this film as well was Disney trying to kind of replicate the success of Wicked. But, you know, obviously this film was not as good as Wicked. Okay, next up, also in 2013, Disney brought out the massive, massive, massive flop film, The Lone Ranger. Another attempt by Disney, I think, to kind of replicate the success of Pirates of the Caribbean. And they brought out dolls. I think this was Disney testing the water to be like, will you buy dolls for any film we put out? They were just trying to test the water, basically. It's interesting because, like, this film does not really lend itself to dolls. To be fair, I haven't seen the film. I would not want dolls from this film. Maybe the horse. The horse is cute. And it's a shame that this film was such a flop because these dolls are actually really high quality. Just a weird choice, like, why make dolls of this film? Okay, next up, Disney wanted lightning to strike twice. They wanted another success on the level of Alice in Wonderland. And Alice in Wonderland was kind of like a twisted Tim Burton version of the original film. So Disney decided to make another kind of twisted, darker version of one of their original films. They decided to make Maleficent. Maleficent, which is a kind of villain origin story for Maleficent from Sleeping Beauty. And I actually quite liked this film. Again, it has its flaws. It definitely has its flaws. But I think Angelina Jolie was a great choice for this. And she is absolutely acting her Angelina-sy off in this film. Gosh. And anyway, of course, Disney decided to make dolls. And they made Disney store dolls, which you can see here in the top of this image, which were really stunning, beautiful dolls, and I'm really annoyed I didn't buy any. And Jakks Pacific also made dolls, and Jakks Pacific actually has quite a good track record of making Disney live-action dolls. Like, their dolls are not terrible. They're not terrible, they're okay. And I actually have the Maleficent doll from Jakks Pacific. I bought her in New York, fun fact. I bought her in that massive Toys R Us shop, which used to be in Times Square. It's now closed down, really sadly. But this is a nice doll. Like, I love the train, I love the glitter, I love her face sculpt. They've done a really good job here. Like, this is a stunning, stunning doll. Look at her big, chunky boots as well. Stunning. But anyway, these dolls sold really, really well, from what I could tell at the time. They were flying off store shelves. It was quite hard to find these dolls online, so clearly this film had been quite successful for Disney and the dolls had been quite successful as well. After the flop that was Lone Ranger, Disney had gambled yet again on making dolls for one of their films, and it had paid off. It had massively paid off. And then we have the absolute pinnacle of Disney live-action doll tie-in projects, Cinderella. Now, this time, Disney didn't try to give the film any kind of dark twist. They just retold the story in its entirety. This was the first kind of Disney live-action remake, which was just a live-action remake. It was just Cinderella in live-action. I quite like this film. I wish it had the songs. I'm really annoyed they cut out the songs. I hate it when they cut out the songs. Like, the music is such a wonderful, whimsical part of the Cinderella story. They should have kept the songs. Anyway, I actually empathize with the original Cinderella a lot more than I do the live-action remake. Anyway, that film has problems, but it looks stunning. It looks stunning, and it absolutely lent itself to dolls. It absolutely lent itself to dolls. And Disney went to town marketing this film. Like, you've never seen anything like it. It was everywhere. I remember the Disney stores had these massive displays with all the Cinderella dolls and dresses and everything. And here you can see images of all the Disney store dolls. As you can see, they made dolls of like every single character. They made 2 limited edition dolls. One of Cinderella in her wedding dress, one of her in her like traditional blue dress. They also made kind of playline dolls of Cinderella and the fairy godmother and her prince and her wedding dress and the evil stepmother, and they came with this gift set which was sold near Christmas with like all the dolls, all the characters in, even the ugly stepsisters. They really went to town, and these dolls were really nice quality. I even have one here. I found her online. It took me a really long time to find her. I managed to get her for £30, but these dolls were very hard to find. They sold out really quickly. Then they were being resold online for quite a lot of money. I'm not sure what the resale value for these is now. And, you know, I think this doll looks nice. Like, it looks enough like Lily James. It looks enough like her. The dress is really nice quality. She's got nice long, kind of coarse, but pretty blonde hair. Her hair's styled really nicely. It's a nice doll. And Mattel also made dolls for Disney's live-action remake of Cinderella. And I don't have any of these dolls. But they're really, really nice. Like, honestly, I think even though the quality doesn't look as high as the Disney store dolls, I actually think these might be the best Disney live-action dolls ever made. The boxes are stunning. The face sculpts are accurate, but also really pretty. I'm talking about the face sculpts quite a lot because I think we all know what's coming. But anyway, the colours are really film accurate. The fabric looks really nice. Like, these are just stunning dolls. Like, really beautiful, beautiful dolls. I would love to one day own the Cinderella doll in her original kind of ball gown. But unfortunately, this was kind of the peak for Disney live action dolls. After this, unfortunately, the Disney live-action dolls take a bit of a dip, take a bit of a downward trajectory, and that has a lot to do with the films they're connected to. Okay, the next film came out in 2016, and it was the sequel to Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland. This time, it was called Alice Through the Looking Glass. And last time, Disney missed out. They didn't make any dolls. They really missed out, and they were not going to let this happen again. Absolutely not. So they made so many dolls for this film. They made so many dolls for this film. They made dolls of all the main characters. They made limited edition dolls. They made a limited edition doll of the Queen of Hearts. They made a limited edition doll of Alice. This was all sold at the Disney store. But then they also made, and I think this was Tolly Tots again making these dolls, or it might be Jack specific, I'm not sure. But they also made kind of licensed dolls, which sold in the shops. And they even made one doll, which I have here, of Alice in her outfit from the original film. I think obviously they were aware that they hadn't made dolls the first time round, so they did something they don't normally do, which was they made dolls for the original film, but put them in the boxes for the sequel film. Does that make sense? And this doll is like fine. This doll is fine. Her face sculpt is like a little bit weird looking. Her skin is like super pale, but that's very Tim Burton, isn't it? Her hair quality is like quite nice. I like it. Her outfit is cute. It's very Hot Topic with these like arm warmers. Very weird. Fun fact about this film, it performed really, really badly. It was really badly reviewed. No one went to see it in the cinema. It just did not do very well. It was a flop for Disney. And I think Disney was starting to get a little bit nervous about pouring so much money into the marketing for these films that were kind of getting a bit hit and miss, especially when it came to the doll lines. Now, the moment we've all been waiting for. Disney's Beauty and the Beast, which came out in 2017. This is a live-action remake of the original 1991 film Beauty and the Beast. I personally hate this film. I think it's like bloated and cringy, and there's way too much computer animation, and I think Emma Watson does like a really bad job. Beauty and the Beast have zero chemistry, literally zero chemistry, oh my goodness, which is a very important element in the story of Beauty and the Beast. There's loads of extra unnecessary stuff, like the book that can show the past, and like all of that random stuff. It's just bad, it's so bad. It's so bad, this film. Anyway, Lindsay Ellis made a really good video about this film, which I think really sums up why it doesn't work, and why it's like not a worthy successor to the original film at all. But anyway, let's talk about the dolls. So, the Disney store made dolls for this film, and they really put their heart and soul into these dolls. Clearly, there was a lot of quality involved. They were clearly really banking on these dolls being as successful as the Cinderella dolls. But before the film came out, this picture was shared around on Twitter, and absolutely everyone was clowning on how bad this doll's face looked. And I have to say, it does look pretty bad. This isn't actually the Disney Store version, this is the JCPenney's version, I believe. But oh my goodness, everyone was absolutely losing it over this doll, and it went viral, it made headlines, there were BuzzFeed articles about it, there were news reports about it, how bad this doll looked. And I'm guessing it was too late for Disney to try and fix this. It doesn't look great. It doesn't look great, I won't lie. Disney used a new technique to create the face sculpts. I just wanted to quickly say that this is actually a theory. I don't know this for certain. I tried to find evidence online, but I couldn't find any. But I'm pretty sure I'm right. Anyway. They scanned the faces of the actors, which this idea has been done quite a few times, where they like scan the face of the actor and put it into a doll, and I don't think it translates very well, because it's never been very successful. The dolls always look weird. Like, I think they did it for the One Direction dolls, they look weird. They did it for the Little Mix dolls, they look weird. They did it for the Kylie Minogue dolls, they look weird. Every time they use that technique of like scanning the actor's face, it just looks weird. Anyway, lots of people were saying this doll looked like Justin Bieber. I'll read you out some of the tweets from the time. They thought they made a nice Emma as Belle doll, but instead they made a Justin Bieber doll. What the is this? Did the plastic from the Lord Farquaad batch leak into the Belle's vat at the factory? This is horrifying. Disney, the new Belle doll looks like she's waiting for her order at Starbucks. but the next drink that arrives is for Susan. Guys, I'm wheezing at the Belle doll. So as you can see, people did not like this doll. They were not impressed with the face sculpt. I actually have the doll here. I spent a long time at the Disney store looking through the Belle dolls, trying to find one that I felt looked the nicest. And she still doesn't look great, I won't lie. But one thing I will say is the quality on these dolls is really good. And I actually think the face sculpt, the profile looks really nice. It's just from like face on that she looks bad. I think the biggest problem with the face sculpt is the hairline. They should have brought the hairline down. Because when I go like this, it looks better, right? When I cover up her hairline, it looks a bit better. But because her hairline is so far back, it just looks odd. Another thing they did with these dolls was they rooted the hair separately and then placed the face on like a mask. A technique which has been used for a couple collector dolls before. You can kind of tell where the mask meets her hairline, and that was another thing that people found kind of weird and creepy. Also, her face is really shiny. Why is her face so shiny? But like I said, other than that, this doll is really nice quality. Like, the dress is actually amazing. Loads of different embellishments on the bodice. It looks really nice. Now, fun fact about the Belle dress. The original dress that they were going to use for this doll had the layers kind of slightly higher up. And I wish they'd done that, because I think it looked better. And the dress was meant to be shorter as well, but they digitally computer animated the dress to be longer in the film. I think they should have just given her a shorter dress. I don't know, like, just stop computer animating everything, Disney. Stop, okay? If you're gonna make a live action film, make it live action. Disney also made some limited edition dolls. Now, funnily enough, with these limited edition dolls, the Belle doll, they actually went back to rooting the hair onto the head instead of doing the face and the head separately. And it looks a lot better. It looks a lot better. The hairline looks nicer. The Prince doll, on the other hand, looks super duper creepy. Disney also partnered with Hasbro to make some Belle dolls. At the time, Disney was distancing themselves from Mattel, so they weren't making dolls with Mattel. That's a whole nother story for another day. I made a whole video about the history of the Disney Princess doll line. So if you want to watch that, I'll put a link on the screen. Anyway, these dolls I think were actually a lot more successful. They were cheaper as well. They were cheaper dolls. I actually have two of the Hasbro dolls here, and they're really nice. Like, their faces look a lot more like just basic Barbie face sculpts, but I think sometimes that's better. Not really much to say about her. She's cute. Her hair's really soft. And here's the basic, you know, peasant dress doll. Also cute. And even though Beauty and the Beast itself, the film, was very successful, the dolls were not successful. The dolls were not successful. Obviously, there was all the trolling online about how ugly the Belle doll looked from the Disney store. So I think after this, Disney decided to try and take a step back from making dolls for their live-action remakes, which was a shame. But anyway, the next Disney live-action film which came out was Mary Poppins Returns, another film which I do not like. I didn't like this film. I really didn't like it. The Disney store did make a limited edition doll. Again, I think they were kind of thinking, like, you know what, maybe the live-action films, we should just market them as, like, for adults. So we'll make a limited edition doll, but we're not going to make any Playline dolls. Which I thought was a shame, because I don't like the limited edition dolls. They're too big. They're too big. Anyway, this film came out in 2018, and Mattel also made some dolls for Mary Poppins, which at the time I think everyone was like, okay, is Disney starting to rebuild their relationship with Mattel? Is that what's going on? But unfortunately, they didn't really rebuild their relationship for a while. This was just kind of like a weird anomaly when they made these dolls. But they're cute. Like, they're cute dolls. I just think this film was bad. I didn't like it. Anyway. And the next big Disney live-action remake which was made was Aladdin. And Hasbro made dolls for Aladdin. I actually quite liked the live-action remake of Aladdin. It's obviously not as good as the original. None of them are. But this one, like, was okay. There was some good performances. I thought Jasmine was really good. I thought Will Smith was pretty good. There was still way too much of a reliance on computer animation, but it was a fun film. The dolls, on the other hand, were trash. These dolls were fully trash. They don't look like the characters. They've got really like oversized heads, which was weird considering this was a live action film. Why did they make them look so cartoony? Why did they do that? There was not a lot of removable clothing. They were very plasticky. Lots of the kind of details on the outfits were just printed on. They were bad dolls. They were really bad dolls. I did buy one though. Oh my goodness, I can't help myself. Anyway, I did buy one Jasmine doll just because I wanted to kind of see for myself. And yeah, she's very cheap. She's very cheap. I bought this one because she had removable clothes, which I think should be like standard for fashion dolls, but anyway. Her face is just like way too cartoony. Why did they make her look like this? They've given her like Bratz doll proportions, which I just find very weird. And she's got very little articulation. The hair feels cheap. The Disney store, once again, did make limited edition dolls. They did make limited edition dolls. And they were pretty. They're cute. You know, here they are. They're nice. But they didn't make Playline dolls. And I think it's a shame, because I actually would have been interested to see what Playline dolls for this film would look like. In 2019, they brought out a sequel to Maleficent, Maleficent, Mistress of Evil. And this film underperformed. It was not very successful. It was not reviewed very well. They made one doll, which was made by Jack's Pacific, one doll set, rather, of Aurora and Maleficent. And yeah, and I didn't see this anywhere in shops. In 2020, a glorious year, obviously I'm being sarcastic, Disney brought out Mulan. It went straight to Disney Plus because of, you know, what was going on at the time. And wow, this film was so bad. This was the worst one. Like, there are some rubbish Disney live action remakes out there, but this one was the worst. And I paid premium access for it. I think it was like £18 or something. Ridiculous. I want compensation, Disney. Because I spent a lot of money on that film, and you should have been paying me to watch it. Because it was so bad. Oh, I just absolutely hated it. And you know what? The dolls were nearly as bad as the film. Hasbro made the dolls. I actually bought one again for research purposes. And trash doll. It's just very cheap. It has no articulation, which is weird because this film is all about like fighting. So you would have thought they'd give the doll better articulation, but no. Terrible doll, very cheap. The Disney store, once again, did make a limited edition doll. I wonder if anyone bought this. Such a dumpster fire, this whole film. Anyway, in 2021, Disney brought out Cruella. I actually quite like this film. It was kind of like campy fun. Again, it was flawed. I don't think any of these films are very well thought out, but I like Emma Stone. I liked this film. I would have liked to see dolls. It's a film about fashion, and Cruella wears some pretty amazing outfits in this film, but unfortunately, the only doll we got was a limited edition doll. No Disney Playline dolls, not even Hasbro dolls, so clearly, you know, this was a bit of a slump for the Disney live action doll line. Disney also brought out Pinocchio last year, a live action version of Pinocchio. This film performed really badly as well, everyone hated it, and there were no dolls made. They didn't even attempt to make dolls. They didn't even try and make dolls. Now, coming out this year, on May 26th, we are getting a live-action remake of The Little Mermaid, and I am, like, quietly optimistic about this film, although I've been, like, quietly optimistic about every Disney live-action remake, and they've all been horrific, but I'm quietly optimistic about this one. I think Halle Bailey looks like a great Ariel. She's got a beautiful singing voice, so I'm very excited for that. There's going to be a lot of CGI again, but I guess it is quite hard to film underwater. Disney has reinstated their relationship with Mattel, so Mattel is making a lot of the dolls for this film, and they vary in quality. They really vary in quality. I've actually ordered the basic Ariel doll from Mattel. I really don't like her tail though, in the film or in the dolls. Like, she's got like these side fins, which I don't like. Can't she just have her original tail? I like the original tail more. But anyway, there are going to be loads of different dolls. I think Mattel is really going for it, marketing this film. They've made a deluxe Ariel doll, which I actually think looks really nice, and I probably will order this one. And for the first time since Beauty and the Beast, the Disney Store is going to bring out a Playline Ariel doll, which I am really excited for. I think this doll definitely looks the best. They've even kind of given her her original tail, even though in the film she doesn't have her original tail. They've also given her a spare outfit, which is really nice. I think they've done a really good job with this doll. She looks really beautiful. And she sings. She sings the songs from the movie, which as a child that would have annoyed me, because I like to put my mermaid dolls in the bath. But I wonder if this doll sells really well, maybe the Disney Store will start making Disney live-action dolls again, and we can have a bit of a Disney live-action doll renaissance. There is also a live-action version of Peter Pan coming out this year, and they have some dolls as well, which are going to be made by Mattel. And those dolls look nice as well. Those dolls look quite nice. I don't think this film is going to perform very well, I have a feeling. Anyway, this was an interesting video to film because I got to talk about my opinions on all the Disney live-action remakes, as well as the dolls which came out. And also, of course, I got to show you some of my Disney live-action doll collection. When the Little Mermaid dolls come out, I will, of course, make a video about them. So make sure you subscribe so that you don't miss any future videos. Also, like this video if you enjoyed it. Check me out on Instagram and TikTok. And I will see you real soon, doll fans. Bye!